if we're going to appeal to that next generation, we 100% have to be there and doing it in the fact that we're there, we're ethical, we're transparent, and we're absolutely making it simple for people to join.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Heritage and Horizon podcast. I'm your host, Stuart Murray, and I'm thrilled that you've joined me for this first episode, so thank you. In each episode, I'll be sitting down with an industry leader to discuss the delicate balance between honouring the traditions that have built the direct selling industry, the heritage, and how to embrace the innovations that will define and secure its future, the horizon. Today, I am honoured to be joined by my first guest, Susannah Schofield OBE. Susannah is the Director General for the Direct Selling Association in the UK and Ireland. Prior to that role, Susannah was with Royal Mail for over 20 years, and this culminated in a board-level role of Commercial and Innovation Director, where she managed a team of over 800 people. Susannah's a passionate advocate for women and young people in business, and this was recognised with an OBE for her work in this area in the 2015 Queen's Honours list. She continues to champion women in business and is a regular speaker on the importance of flexible working and portfolio careers. Susannah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you ever so much for having me, Stuart. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining. So to kick things off, I want to hear a bit more about your journey within direct selling. So how did you find yourself in the role of Director General for the Direct Selling Association, and what continues to drive your passion for the sector?
Yeah, well, actually, funnily enough, I was a member of the Direct Selling Association with my own business long before I was the Director General. So I've had a journey right the way through from setting up a direct selling company, then selling it, and then being able to going on to do other things, and then coming back full circle, which has been really, really. And I think my passion for it is it's one of those sectors that there's no glass ceiling. It doesn't matter what your qualifications are. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter your belief system. As long as you're full of integrity and you're ready to work hard, then it's a really, really nice environment to be able to do that whole moment of, as I said, there's no glass ceilings. You can just get out there. As long as you're prepared to put the effort in, the opportunity is 100% yours. And I love that about this industry. I really do.
Perfect. Thank you. That leads nicely into our first main topic of conversation, which is the heritage. And for me, the term the heritage is really about the bedrock of the whole industry. So it's about the core principles, the foundations, and really, I guess, essentially the magic that made direct selling a success in the first place. So what is the one thing that you think must never change within the direct selling industry?
Yeah, this is a really, really good question. And for me, it's absolutely the human connection. It's at the heart of direct selling, and it utterly has to remain. It's what we do. It is direct selling. It's the industry was built on those foundations 100 and something years ago. It's full of personal relationships, that peer-to-peer recommendation. And that for me is something that no algorithm or marketplace will ever fully replicate, because it can't. Direct selling empowers individuals to build communities. They provide tailored products and experiences, and they create mindful economic opportunities. It's a really lovely sense of belonging. And I think so many people sometimes say, I didn't join direct selling to make money. I joined it because I wanted to make friends in a new local area I've moved into, or I wanted to go out and stretch myself out of my comfort zone, or I wanted some of the training provided by the company. There's just so much that goes in there. So for me, that human connection is what we absolutely must protect and must never change. That piece of heritage is irreplaceable.
You mentioned about that no algorithm can really replace that human touch. Obviously now as we're seeing technology evolve and the introduction of AI, how do you think that a direct selling company can balance those two things, kind of embracing the modern technology, but not making sure that they don't lose that human touch?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think the most successful direct selling brands, in my opinion, will use digital to scale connection, but not substitute it. And I think that's really important. By all means, automate your business. By all means, but make it high tech, but make it really high touch as well. Because if we don't do that, then it's just that moment of loss. And I think humanity as a whole, and Stuart, you'll know I speak about this regularly. I think humanity knows that we need some more personal touch now. The videos are all AI. We don't know where reality starts and perception begins. I think that phrase "seeing is believing" isn't true now, because you can see it and it's not true. So I think that whole moment of, by all means, CRM tools can help sellers remember, but they must always then go out and interact direct as well. And those social platforms can help reach your bigger community, but then it's important that the data forms don't just become what the conversations are. The conversations have to keep coming. And I think that whole narrator experience is just superly important. So absolutely digitize it. Just don't make it all digital. Keep that personal touch.
You mentioned as well, first of all, about the human element builds that trust. And in the world now where you can't believe what you see all the time, how do you think that the direct selling model, that kind of peer-to-peer model, cuts through the noise when people are increasingly skeptical? How do you think that can kind of put direct selling in a better position, if you like, compared to other sectors of retail?
Absolutely. Well, my age-old thing since I started in sales is people by people, and we really do. And I think nothing cuts through that noise more than someone you trust handing you a product and saying, "Try this, it's brilliant," or "Look at this service, it's excellent." And I think when we live in a world now where we are a bit more cynical, we are a bit more used to attempting to be scammed, we are having to watch our fraud cases, all the other things that make this kind of an exciting era to be living in, but also quite terrifying at the same ilk. I think peer-to-peer is someone you trust. It's someone saying, "This is really good, give it a go." And I think that cuts through the noise. It's there. It's people you like, people you know, people you trust. And I think that's that moment where it's about the experience, not about how it's advertised. And I think that's crucial into how consumers want to consume things today now. They want the experience. They want to relate to who's selling it to them. And as I say, people by people. So we're in a good position at the moment.
Within the membership of the Direct Selling Association in the UK, are you aware of any of your members who are kind of doing that well at the moment, embracing a bit of using technology, but making sure the human element is still at the forefront?
Yeah,
Any specific
absolutely.
examples spring to mind?
Yeah, and I think for me, it's really easy to see some of the companies doing this very well. So I think if you take Salad Master, they're absolutely sensational at doing, cook online with us, and they actually do, which always amazes me because you can't taste the food, but they still do
Yeah.
it virtually. Yeah, but cook online, you can go online and do all of the recipes, you can download recipes, you can have cook-along chefs, they've got all of that, absolutely. But they still have Salad Master pop-up stores where you can go and actually see it, feel it, touch it. They still have hundreds of people going out to people's homes that are really teaching people how to cook. And, that's the old-time party kind of atmosphere, isn't it? In the fact that, let me come to your home, let me really sit down with you, let me cook for you and your family, and let me show you how amazing this equipment is, and then you can go on and buy it. And I think at the other extreme of that's obviously quite high energy, high value goods. But at the other end of it, I think Avon have really depicted this well. They have pop-up stores, bringing it alive. They've done the omni-channel by putting some of their products in shops, in Superdrug. But then they've also taught most of their consultants to be beauty experts, so that they can really then go into people's homes, show them how to put makeup on, do pop-up stores in supermarkets and that sort of thing, and shopping chains. And I think that keeps it real. Don't just take my word for it that makeup's good. Come sit with me and have a look at it and let me do it. Online tutors. So that real moment of direct questions, like you and I are now having a conversation. There's not that pause where AI is thinking. There's not the chatbot going and looking for an answer to say, "I don't know, click here and read." We're just having a conversation. And I think that is something that, I've always talked about. It was called that lovely old phrase, retail therapy. We used to go out and we used to shop for fun, and that was lovely, being able to retail therapy. But unfortunately now we've kind of lost some of that, and it's more just about the automation of, right, I'm ordering it, it's been delivered, thanks ever so much. And I think that's a shame. And I think we'll see direct selling come back to the forefront, because it's it's a low barrier entry for entrepreneurship, but also because I think it's the way people are going to want to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, it feels like maybe the world is almost, I don't know what the phrase is, kind of reflecting back to the way things were, and maybe that peak of when social media was at its height during COVID, when we had no other kind of way of going out and interacting with customers, particularly in this industry, whether now actually people are craving that element of human interaction, and that's why it does put direct selling in a better position than other retail sectors.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think there's been loads of medical experts now saying that actually they're encouraging some of the youngsters to go to the pub and drink, because actually the harm that your liver affects from having a drink is far less than the harm of being socially excluded. Like, we are always supposed to be pack animals. As you know, Stuart, my area of expertise is neuroscience. So that whole moment of being able to look and think, right, we should, in the original times, we should hunt together, kill together, eat together. This was what we were meant to be. We were all supposed to be together. And then all of the different evolutions and revolutions of society, from the industrial age through to the technological age, have come about it that meant we don't have to actually physically hunt, kill and eat together now, but we are still pack animals. We still enjoy each other's company. We still need touch, communication. And it's why Meta's just closed down their massive project, isn't it, around artificial online, and after a tiny, I think it was only about 80 billion, wasn't it? See if this works. So
Yeah. Drop in the ocean.
Exactly. Jay's interest is down the back of the sofa, but no, I think that's fascinating, because as much as the world thought there was a cry for being online, actually the pullback now is no, there's not. We do want that human touch. We do. So I think it's going to be interesting moving forward to see how this plays out.
And that kind of now leads us into the next question, I guess, around the horizon. So whereas heritage is about protecting kind of, I guess, the best elements of the industry, the horizon is about thinking about what do we need to change in order to survive, whether that be a changing landscape, new customer demands, or new innovations that the industry can't ignore. So what do you think needs to radically change in direct selling in order to help it survive for the next 100 years?
Yeah, I think for me it's a great question, but with a very simple answer, and that's just simplicity. For me, the industry has to embrace full transparency. We have to modernise to deal with consumer expectations, and now everything, the world, we want the world to be smarter, faster, quicker, but we also really want it to be simpler. Our time, attention spans are so much shorter. What was it? They used to say you had 13 seconds on social media, then it went down to 7, and I read a terrifying article a couple of weeks ago that literally said it was 3. 1, 2, 3, gone. 1, 2, 3, gone. So we have to cut through that noise, as I said, to keep our heritage, but we need to make it simple. So includes things like clean earning disclosures, simplifying ethical compensation structures, all the things towards that. Social selling commerce is absolutely brilliant, but it's got to be creator-led, it's got to have omni-channels, but it's also got to be simple. And I think the language we use has to change. We have to make this a job opportunity that's simple to join, simple to work in, and is all just about the face-to-face element of things and not about anything else. Because the new generation that's going to come up and help our sector grow, which is why it's so important, are only care about authenticity, flexibility and accountability, and they really do. And evolution here isn't optional. It's absolutely essential for our credibility and our growth. So if we're going to appeal to that next generation, we 100% have to be there and doing it in the fact that we're there, we're ethical, we're transparent, and we're absolutely making it simple for people to join.
Yeah, absolutely. You touch on about the need for clearer earnings disclosures and ethical structures, I guess. Do you think that historically the industry suffered with that? And if so, what do you think? What would be your advice to any organisation that feels they have struggled with it and they want to move away from that and into a kind of more transparent era?
Yeah, for me, I think it almost calls for radical clarity, and I really do. And I don't mean that to be, I don't think there's companies out there without clarity, but I think for me, it's if I were advising a new startup or anybody looking to come into the industry that didn't have already a complicated comms legacy plan that can be a bit of a nightmare, I think the thing there is you want to make it simple, easy to understand earnings disclosures. Just sell this, earn that, do this, do that. I think realistic income ranges as well. Don't, I always say I hate the Lamborghini and bikinis. I'm not going to be in this, I'm not going to be claiming I can keep it realistic, because actually people are very happy with what they can realistically earn, and it can really help. or £500 extra a month can be an absolute game changer for some families. So let's just keep that realistic. And I think a clear explanation of the effort required. It's no good signing up something and then just sitting back and saying, well, why is nobody buying from me? You have got to get out there. You have got to have that right. What can I say? How can I say it? How can we really help a new joiner to understand from the start as to what's required and what's there? Because I think when you've got that trust that's built and then the reality matches the expectation when you come in, it's very easy that this isn't a risk to join then. It's not, this is a great environment. It's great. So you don't suddenly have that moment of thinking, oh, do I want to join? Am I a bit nervous about it? I can't sell. Because what the one thing that all the Direct Selling Association members do brilliantly is the level of coaching and training that goes around it. So you're not just given a starter pack and there you go, Godspeed, out off you go. Yeah. Actually, there was a huge amount of online training. And, not only what we do at the Direct Selling Association, but individual companies will take, amazing lengths to really educate and grow their own people. So I think that for me is the real driver of it all. But yeah, that simplistically able to understand, I sell this, I earn that. Yeah. Let's keep it simple. I say.
Yeah, I think as well, particularly with attracting or attempting to attract a younger generation who maybe aren't as focused on the income element of the opportunity. Obviously, people want to earn money, but all of the research, I guess, is suggesting that younger generation, that isn't the number one reason for them looking for a business opportunity. So I guess all of what you've said there really should appeal to that, because if companies are just having a nice, simple, easy to understand compensation plan and they're talking about their ethical values, they should then appeal to that younger generation, I guess.
Completely. And I think, as you rightly say there, the rise of the creator-led selling and all of this sort of thing, that those they're actually the individuals then looking to come and join. They're actually also looking to build their own audience and tell stories around the products and drive conversation through trust. And I think that's very different from saying, right, I just want to earn £500 a month. And that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But as you say, with the earnings with the younger generation, it's got to be about trust. It's got to be about showing them how to do it, not telling them to. It's got to be transparent about how we communicate and really enforcing the ethical standards across the network, which we have. Anybody who chooses join the Direct Selling Association is choosing to self-regulate. So that's about as ethical as it becomes. They pay a fee to make sure that they treat their customers and their consultants fairly. And I think that's a brilliant way to kick off.
And because the term that you use there, creator-led selling, as kind of we're moving towards that, I guess, and the kind of an era of social commerce, it feels like what a direct seller does and the term influencer or role influencer are getting closer and the lines kind of blurring. What advice would you give to a more established traditional direct seller as we kind of move into that era and where they find themselves competing, I guess, with online influencers?
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think actually this all comes down to your market. So if you are very comfortable going to somebody's home, doing a display, chatting, showing makeup, cooking, whatever it is, that's your core audience. And I think then maybe use social media to go out and target that audience, but stick with what you're authentically good at, because that level of integrity and showing up as being your true self makes selling much easier, because then you're just recommending. But if you're not very comfortable going into people's homes and speaking face to face and you'd rather have the distance, then you can still use your own network, but potentially do it through platform fluency and content-driven engagement and all those sorts of things, where maybe sometimes when you're getting started, you can either pre-record a video, so you're not live, so actually you've got the confidence of watching it back, tweaking it, getting it right, and then going out and doing it. And I think that gives you the real choice. But my advice for anybody is stick at what you're good at, because people understand that and they come towards you. And I know these things. I've learned long ago that when I go and I public speak for other companies and I stand on stage, I will not do this unless I believe in the topic, because I've been asked, well, could you come and talk about this? And you stand up there and you think, I can't do this with passion. I don't believe in it. It's not my sector. It's not my understanding. So for me, I always say, no, listen, I will happily come and talk to you about all of these things, motivation, et cetera, but I won't do that. And I think it's the same in this industry. Sell a product you'd buy or sell a service you'd want to use, and do it in the way that you would want to buy or sell yourself. And then I think that authenticity follows through and enables you to create your market space.
I think, like you said earlier, about with the world being more skeptical than it was in the past. That need for authenticity is really high, because like you say, if someone's just going to scroll past within 3 seconds, we're all not stupid now. And this morning I was scrolling through, and you see immediately it becomes obvious when you're looking at a TikTok video, someone just trying to sell you something, and you think you probably don't even genuinely really believe in the product. You've just been paid to promote it because you've got a big following. So yeah, I think it's really good piece of advice to stick to what you know, and be yourself, and don't kind of be ashamed of that, really. I saw a lot during COVID that maybe a lot of sellers who were maybe new to the industry at that time, they almost fell into the trap of becoming completely reliant on social media. And now that the world has opened again, they kind of don't really necessarily have those foundational skills about how to go out there and actually have a real conversation with people. So yeah, I think it's the more we can encourage the people to get the best of both worlds, I guess, is definitely a good thing, I think.
Absolutely. And I think, we at the Direct Selling Association are putting together something that's going to help, that kind of training, that whole entrepreneurial bit for, for the next generation coming up. But I think that's important. And I think as well, that's where sometimes it's good to lean into your company. So maybe go and find some of the legacy leaders that were really out there through the absolute heyday of face-to-face and conversations, and say, listen, can I come with you to one of your meetings? Can I come with you and see what happens? Can I come with you on a visit so I can really learn? And I think that's the beauty of this, is that the thing that always baffles me, Stuart, in this industry, and really does blow my mind, is that we all share so much. So my board gets together and it's 12 competitive companies sitting around a table, and they all openly share what's working for them, what's happening. And I've never had that in another sector. Like, coming from the postal services, everyone was, don't tell anybody anything. This is all a secret. We have to do, and even at one point, I remember booking a conference and finding out it was a competitor in the same hotel, and we moved the conference.
Right.
Wow, okay. And in this environment, it's not at all. It's completely about it's about the sector, about direct selling. And I think with that, there's a real lean in, and even with those that are the independent sellers, there's a real lean in for saying, come with me for the day, come and learn from me, come under my wing, let me teach you what you can and can't do and how it works and all the rest of it. So I think, every single year there's an event called Mastermind, which I was very humbled to be invited at and speak at last year, and I'm actually going back this year. But that is hundreds of independent sellers, or thousands of independent sellers coming together across every single industry and every single member company. And the only criteria is you're not allowed to sell. So you're not allowed to try and recruit, or you're not allowed to try and sell your products within there internally, unless somebody asks, obviously. You just come as an independent seller and learn from other independent sellers. And that's phenomenal. It's such a great environment. And you can see people who have maybe joined early or joined late and coming and going, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to do this, and now I do. So it's things like that. But it's that give back for me that's incredible about this sector.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, and for me, I think that's part of where I think this whole kind of horizon element needs to be, of actually just acknowledging that, it might not necessarily mean completely reworking the whole industry, but being open to the fact that where change is required, just to open that conversation and start talking about it. And that's I guess, a part of the reason why I'm starting this podcast, of trying to prompt some of those conversations, because I think, like you say, sometimes people can be kind of closed and think, no, we're experiencing something bad, it's only us that's experiencing it. I don't want to kind of acknowledge that publicly, when actually, if more of us did acknowledge it publicly and get our heads together, there's so much knowledge and experience in the industry that with the I guess the incoming kind of new generation and new ideas and new thoughts, when you combine those two things, you think there's no reason why we shouldn't succeed and kind of get over any kind of hurdles that we're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's about saying we're self-regulating. It's about being modern and moving forward, and it's about being honest. And I just think that's it. And if we hunker all of that together for that next generation, then we're unstoppable.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, we're nearly out of time, but we've just got enough time for the quick fire round, which, just so everybody knows, Susannah has no idea what this is going to be.
And I can confirm that. I have no idea what this is going to be.
Yeah. Throw you in the deep end, but you're very good at reacting and answering questions quickly. So hopefully there won't be any problem. But the rules of this round are simple. I'll ask you a series of very quick questions, and the idea is that you just give me the first answer that pops into your head. Okay?
What could possibly go wrong here, Stuart?
Nothing can go wrong. Trust me. There's only five. So first one, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Oh, do you know, actually, I'm going to say my best piece of advice is you've got two ears and one mouth and use them in that order. Listen more than you talk. And I think when the smartest person in the room is not always the loudest. And I think sometimes sitting back and watching, and I work for a brilliant man at Royal Mail, a gentleman called Graham Davis, who taught me so much. And he would go into a meeting and barely say anything. And for the first little bit, I always thought, gosh, he's not even engaged in this meeting. And then he'd profoundly summarize what everyone had said and come to a conclusion. I remember thinking it's because he's just taken it all in. So yeah, so use them in the proportion, two ears, one mouth.
Yeah, brilliant. Great piece of advice. Tea or coffee, and how do you take it?
Coffee, and depending on the time of the day, either strong and black or white, but never sugar, never sugar. So at the end of a meal, I might have a little bit of milk, but during the morning, strong and black.
No, but no sugar. You're sweet enough.
Sweet enough, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I take it as regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you weren't in the direct selling industry, what career do you think you would have?
Oh, do you know, that's a good one. And I've been very varied, but I definitely think retail. I think I love the world of retail. I love the world of shopping and buying and all that. But also, actually, I like human connection. So I think something, we've changed so much now. Would I set up a retail store now? Probably not. I think that's, it's because as a new startup, that's a risky thing. I think human connection, some form of platform, people together. I've worked in the sports industry for many years, which was great, really supporting sports people to achieve their best. I kind of like to give people something to achieve, if that makes sense. Like the sports world, I loved because I started, and then they could go on and achieve, and it was great watching them flourish. I love direct selling. You see people come in, you can go on and see them flourish. So I think, I think something that enables people to improve themselves somewhere down the line is probably where my heart is at.
Yeah, perfect. Lovely. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I am an early bird, absolutely 100%. I get up every day, and religiously 365 days a year I go to the gym. So I either run 10K or I cycle 20K. It takes me an hour.
Wow, okay.
I used to go outside and do it, but I'm getting older now and I need the soft treadmill.
Yeah.
Started cycling a bit more and do it, but no, I love it. So I do it Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day. There's no excuse whatsoever. I do an hour every single day, and then I do about 15 minutes of yoga before I get into bed every night. Just to
God.
So I can do the splits. I can put my legs behind my head, and I'm very proud of that. So at 50, I used to still be able to do that in a decade. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, very disciplined. The complete opposite to me, I hasten to say. Night owl and do not do any form of exercise at all. So yeah, very.
You look great on it, so we're all.
Oh well, I don't know about that.
And don't get me wrong, but I get up early in the morning.
Yeah. And very last question. Sum up direct selling in no more than 3 words.
Community, passion, integrity.
Thank you so much, Susannah. It's been really, really interesting and insightful. You've been really open, candid in all your responses. So yeah, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And to everybody listening or watching, thank you for tuning in to episode 1. However, the conversation doesn't stop here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Susannah shared today. Head on over to LinkedIn and join our dedicated LinkedIn group to pose a question to Susannah and to connect with other listeners. You can also follow our profiles on Instagram and TikTok to get behind the scenes footage, and all of the details you need are in the episode description. So until next time, keep honouring your heritage and look forward to the horizon. See you in the next episode.